Hello. It's another fantastic, fun, prehistoric
Yeah. I am a caveman.
episode. Those are the words I guess that we are using. Um, well, I guess you can't really tell. It's a sparkly mask.
You're wearing a sparkly mask.
It's got
That's
gold.
why you sound a little muffled.
Yeah.
You got some red in your hair.
Do I? Yeah, I've had red in my hair for a while.
Gotcha. Hey, you look like the Tiger Queen because back there, those ferocious cats are just scratching each other's eyes out.
when when I looked at them, she was like, "Oh no," and she ran away. Come here.
Wonderful. Oh, they hid. They're hiding. They ran from their cage.
Well, she's crying because no one's over there playing with her.
Aw, poor kitty. They're a pretty good age difference, right?
1 year.
Oh, they're only 1 year different?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
Luffy is gonna be 3, and Buggy's gonna be 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, I thought that because I met Luffy as a full-grown cat, so I assumed that he was he'd been a full-grown cat for a while. But I guess I met him right after he was a kitten.
You met him when he was 1 year old.
Wow, he almost killed me.
I know.
Tried to murder me.
He doesn't do that anymore. He's very lovey, and it's great.
Oh, but then I assume the other one is the murderer now.
He is. She'll kill you with her long legs.
Okay. I've known a few women to do that.
She's got the longest legs in the West.
Like a Barbie doll.
Yeah. Speaking of death, though,
okay.
I came up with a nice topic for us today. Something that I would like your input on. So, a question that many people ask is, or do they ask? I don't know. Is if there's multiple timelines in the world, like multiverse, yeah. So,
Berenstein Bears.
What I always wondered is, what if, when you not always, but those times when you almost get hurt or you almost like could have died, what if you did, but then now you're in another universe and now you go on from there?
So reincarnation through multiverse.
I guess it's like maybe. Whoa, calm down. It's yeah, they're going all over the place. If there's like one universe you're going your own way, and then the other universe you're going your own way, and then right here, this one, you're about to get into a car accident.
Right.
And then you swerve out of the way. Well, over here you died. Okay. But then you continue on this life.
But who was it before in the other life?
Yourself.
Okay.
So it's yourself. It's just that in one of those lives you did die, but then your what is that? Your mind that you're remembering everything takes over the one where you're still alive.
Gotcha.
And maybe you only have so many, near misses or near death experiences until it's like, okay, well, this one's your final one. So kind of like 9 lives.
Except it's 9 lives meets Scott Bakula.
Maybe? I don't understand the reference.
Quantum leap. Quantum leap into your own body.
Right.
Timeline. Do you have a Ziggy? Okay, these are references that the youngins won't understand. I'm just gonna move on from that.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
They should remake that show. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, that's basically it.
I could see that. I could see that. I mean, there's infinite possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What's the old expression? If you get a infinite number of monkeys with an infinite number of typewriters, and you get an even bigger infinite number of broken typewriters, is that what it is?
What?
Eventually, someone will type out the entire works of Shakespeare on accident.
Is that a thing?
That's what they say. I don't think so. That takes a lot away from Shakespeare.
Right.
I don't think that's... Yeah, if infinite, sure. Okay, an infinite number of monkeys with an infinite number of keyboards, then sure. Probably not in exact order. And which version of Shakespeare? Because, you know, it was all published after he had died, so there's different... Anyway. Yeah, I could see... I mean, first you'd have to... I think Einstein's, you know, theories kind of showed that there could be a multiverse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we don't know what happens to us after we die. The energy that's inside of a living organism is a mystery, right?
Right. Like there is many stories of people saying like, "Oh, I died and I saw this and that," and did they really, or is that just their way of, you know, letting or trying to give people hope that there is something beyond?
Sure.
Death.
A lot of babies remember whole lifetimes.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's I those are all really interesting stories of children talking about past lives, and then the parents just confused and looking it up and being like, wait, what? How did you know all this information? How did you know about this random person on the other side of the world, and all this information is things that happened to this person?
Right.
Or children seeing someone in a black and white photo and saying, "That's me." And the parents just saying, sure. And then they're like, yeah. And then they tell the life story of this person. And sure enough, once they research it, the parents find out that it's all true.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the Dalai Lama is supposed to be the reincarnation of the Buddha. And there's a lot of crazy stories about finding the new Dalai Lama and how they're an infant that can speak a language that they never could, but it was a language that the Buddha spoke. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, there's so many mysteries of the world. Not enough time to figure them all out.
Well, we have about 9 minutes. Let's try to figure some of these out.
Yeah, I would just say that that's something that I think about a lot. Anytime that I'm either like, whoa, that would have been very terrible if this other thing had happened instead. Like, let's just go with I can't even think of one. I guess like kids falling off of really tall buildings or something, or even a play structure. Like, what if you had actually fallen this other way and then you would have broken your arm? Okay, I guess that's not really causing to death, but
sure.
Yes,
But it could have if it got infected
and got sepsis and all that stuff.
Yeah. So how many times do you think you've died? Oh, she's thinking. You can't see it on the podcast, but she is.
Yeah, sorry. I'm thinking. Oh,
I could see the gears turn.
Quite a few.
Really? More than 9?
Probably.
Wow, you're more than a cat. You're like 2 cats.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's... See, now we're getting dark.
I want to get dark. Let's get dark.
Well, I mean...
Let's get crazy.
Are we accounting... Are we taking into account the times that I wanted to not alive myself, or are we talking about accidents? So
every
like
time you had a thought that crossed your mind, you could have gone into a different timeline. You went. You didn't cross the street. You went down the road. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, you
I
knew
haven't
what I
heard
meant. That's
that
terrifying.
in a long time. Sorry, it's not
Yeah.
a funny thing that I'm laughing at. I'm just laughing at the fact that I have not heard that in forever.
Yeah, and so, and another timeline, you 13 Reasons Why.
No.
in another lifetime,
No.
you bit the
But
bullet.
no, because that's not the way that I would try. That's
Gotcha.
the thing that it was.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we're really going dark.
Yeah, so let's not go dark. Anyway, let's just that went totally different than how I expected.
Well, how did you expect it? Because we're in an alternate timeline now.
Well,
right?
Okay. So when we were back to yes. So thinking about that, and it's just like, did I don't know. Just thinking about the fact that you have so many. If that were to be a thing, that you have a lot of timelines and you jump from one to the other because something that we can't control, that we can't even what's the word? We can't even
conceive of.
Yeah, there we go. We can't even conceive this something that can like say, no, it's not your time yet, and then just jumps you onto another line. And so even though your body might be done in this one timeline, your mind continues on in another one.
Gotcha. So this is an interesting theory of afterlife that seems to be not really based in science, but reactive to more modern science, which is not something that most religions are based in. But you could start your own cult. I think this has legs. You're in Southern California. Nobody has ever. You could start a cult in a second. And before you know it, you guys are all wearing matching tennis shoes.
What do you think RU.coms is?
That's true. Welcome to the cult, ladies and gentlemen. And today we're going to talk about the spirit moving into the multiverse. And if you don't want to go to a bad multiverse, then you need to give us money.
And then that's the thing that, well, if what I am saying were to make sense, and it's like, okay, well then how come everyone's, not everyone, but eventually people are gone from other people's lives? Like, well, because maybe they were done in this timeline, but they were needed in another one.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
And I mean, I think you're right that what I'm saying, maybe it's just something that I came up with to kind of make some sense of what happens in the afterlife. And that's what religion is. And
yeah,
when it comes down to it, it's trying to make sense of certain things. So then you just come up with some stuff that you're like, I think this kind of makes sense. And then there's other people that are like, sure, that makes sense. And that's how religion begins.
Well, if I accidentally died today, let me put it on the record. I want to go to the timeline with dinosaurs. Okay? I don't think I'd be there very long, but I want to go there for a minute or two so I can be eaten by a T-Rex.
Well, think of this as well. What if books, what if stories are really just memories that the writers have had, and those are all different types of
if only writing a book was that easy. It's not.
No. But what if that's why sometimes some stories come in so clear? I'm not saying all of them, obviously. Yeah. But what if a lot of stories that come into your brain are actually because you've lived there, and that's why blah, blah. And so then the things and the story there.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs really happened. That's
Yes.
scary.
But
Hannibal Lecter is out there right now, Clarice.
I mean, that's a lot more realistic than I don't
Game
know
of Thrones,
the other
for
stuff.
example.
But the reason why I thought of that is because I'm currently reading a book to one of the kids I babysit, and it's a Brandon Sanderson. What?
Oh yeah.
Brandon Sanderson book, and it's Alcatraz and the Evil Librarians, and the kid asked me, is this a real story? Because in it, the main character keeps saying, this is probably going to be labeled as fiction, but it's true. And so they asked me, like, is it true or not? And I'm like, well, you got to research. If is this the only story there is of this character? Then maybe. But if there's multiple stories by different writers and it's pretty much the same thing, there might be something to it.
Sure.
If there's past that have and so dinosaurs are in the story. It takes place in our world, but not our world. Like, it is our world, but there's like a secret world to our world, and dinosaurs came to visit, and they got put into, like, whatever, they got picked up, and there was like, hey, no, you guys can't be in the world, because then people are going to be like, why are there dinosaurs? You guys are supposed to be extinct in this world, so no, you guys can't just visit and look at the humans. That's not allowed. And
this episode was brought to you by Brian Sanderson's book of Alcatraz and the Licorice Monster. That's not what it's called, and that's not his name, but in an alternate timeline.
True.
Let's see. I want to talk today about something that is a little bit more serious, and that is how to stop hate in this world. Because right now,
oh boy, that's yeah.
I mean, we see a lot of Asian hate right now because people are stirred up about the coronavirus, and for some reason think that they need to hate Asian people because there's an illness.
Right.
There's just a lot of it going around, and some people love their hate. They hold on to it. It's based in their worldview.
Well, that's because. Oh yeah, continue.
Well, how do you think we can? Well, okay, you tell me where do you think? Why do you think people find value in hate?
Well, so fear always comes from just not knowing, not understanding something. So let's just go, because it's childish to hate someone just because they look different. Right. Even though there's a lot of children out there that if you said, hey, did you know that if someone looks different, you're supposed to hate them? They're going to look at you and be like, that sounds ridiculous. Why would you do that? Ew. But let's just go off of that. It's when you're a child and you're afraid of the dark, you're not afraid of the dark. You're afraid of what's in the dark. You're afraid of what you don't know. So these people, they don't know. And by these people, I mean the people that are just hateful towards anyone that doesn't look like them. They're hateful. And that's not entirely true either, because there's many people that hate their own people, and it's ridiculous. But let's just stick with the people that are hating people that don't look like them. So to be a little bit more specific, white people that hate Asians, Black people, Mexicans, everyone, Latino, everyone, the whole community, just all the communities. And it's because they don't understand the cultures. They don't understand why people look the way that they do. And so then they automatically just start hating on them. And on top of the fact of the resources that they're learning from is telling them, yes, you should be afraid. Yes, there is so much to be afraid of because they do this, they do that, they do this, instead of actually, doing the research. Do these people actually do this? Do Asian people really just bring the virus over here and spread it? No, they don't. But
Right.
Fox News is telling them that they do.
Right.
So why would Fox News lie to them? And that's all they know. They are they're so biased about it. Like, okay, well, this news station who's always made me feel good is telling me that these people are bad. So of course I'm going to think that they're bad.
Right.
And so I think it's I hope I'm making sense. A lot of it is basically that these white people are being ignorant.
Well, it's a strange thing because I used to think grounded mainly in ignorance, right? Because I lived in a community that I remember saying things that now I cringe about because that was just
for sure, same.
Right? But I think that's like diet racism. That's not real racism. It is racism, but it's it's not it's malignant, but it's not stage 4 terminal, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I moved to Southern California, where there's a diverse community, although it's surprisingly, there's still some demographics that are really underrepresented. Like, it's only like 5% African American in San Diego, which is crazy to think about. But it's huge population, like 30% Hispanic, and when you go into some of these communities, even the ones where you've got diversity, there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of still ignorance, and it's when you get to that point where you've got a diverse community and people are still hateful and ignorant, it's by choice. And that's the strange thing to me. It's like for example, recently we had that shooting in Atlanta, and he clearly did not see the people that he killed as human beings. He saw them as objects of consumption because he had a porn addiction. He went after the people that he had fetishized, and he just mowed them down because he didn't want to look at porn anymore. It's like, well, okay, then stop looking at porn. Right. I understand you got an addiction. You've got some issues. You don't just go out and kill Jenna Jameson because you find her attractive. So, he went out and killed these people that he fetishized, and it was Asian women.
Elliot, sorry. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, I don't want to say the guy's name, but...
No, that wasn't that guy. Another guy, I mean, similar thing is that another is this male. He was being told, he would ask out girls and they'd be like, sorry, no. So he just
the incels
shooting a bunch of people, and it's like these people need to just
and not even to the extent of like hating, people that are necessarily even different than you, just not having empathy. We talk a lot about it in the show, but you've got a YouTuber who wanted to create content and he wanted to get these girls to do a fivesome with this buddy. And so they were like, no, we're not interested. And they pressured them. Come on, we need content. And then they got them really drunk to the point where they passed out. And then they created their content and put it on the internet. Like, hey, this is cool. Look. And the whole world sees it. And for a long time, nobody cared. But now it's an issue because people are saying, hey, you know what? Really, this is kind of screwed up. It just really shows, I don't even know if that's hate. It's just malignancy. It's and I don't know how to stop that because it's really easy to say, like, racism bad and point at the racists, the really far out there racists.
No, you have to start even at the smallest. Like when you make a comment online about, hey, what you're saying is racist or you're being racist, it's not for the commenter, the one that said the racist thing, because they know what they said. They know what they did.
Right.
And they may play like, oh, I'm just being devil's advocate. No, stop it. But those comments are not to be seen by that commenter. It's for anyone else that's thinking, hey, what if I said this thing? Would it be funny if I just said something against people like that are different than me? No. So obviously this person got bitched out for saying this thing that I thought was not a big deal, but apparently it is a big deal. And so that's what those comments are for. That's why when people are like, you're just wasting their time, or you're wasting your time and they're not going to change their mind. Sure, the person that I'm arguing with is not, no, but most of the time it's probably not going to change their mind. But anyone else,
seeds, right?
Anyone else seeing that whole argument, eating the popcorn, watching that argument, is going to be like, oh, it's not okay to say that. Got it.
Well, there's a former white supremacist who was made the media rounds. I don't remember his name, but he's really an interesting guy. He's very fascinating. If you watch the recent John Oliver kind of takedown on Tucker Carlson, they actually show him in that. So this guy, he's talked a lot about how a racist job is not to recruit people into the skinheads or the Ku Klux Klan. They just want to create an argument that reasonable people will agree with.
Right.
And so that's why they like Tucker Carlson, and it's weird to me that there's so many people that are like, he's not racist. Anybody who is like combated racism in their self, which is, I think that's actually how you start it, is you have to look at yourself, right? You have to look in your own heart, and then you have to spread that love. I think that's how you do it. So that's my own answer for my question for me. And anyone who's kind of done that will watch a Tucker Carlson thing and be like, wow, this guy's racist.
Yeah.
And then if you point it out to other reasonable people who haven't, maybe they have had that exploration in themselves. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but I've had so many people be like, no, he's not. Yeah, no, he's definitely, he's selling xenophobia. No, he's not. You're just being you're calling everyone's racist now.
Right.
It's really strange. Strange to me.
And then there's the racists that are like, well, you're being racist for calling me racist because it's like, no, I'm sorry, but you're wrong.
Right. Yeah. And I think that there's something else to talk about too, because I've heard people say, and it's not that I disagree with what they're saying exactly when we're talking about society, right? Because there's societal racism, which in America, that's white people. It's the people in power, right? So right now, the people in power are cis white men, or even some gay white men who, have been able to move the gay rights movement faster than a queer woman of color would be able to.
Or sometimes they hold it back, but yeah.
Yes, absolutely. They don't want to believe in trans issues because they don't, or whatever.
Right.
But there's also personal racism. And I think it's important to note, because you'll hear people say things like a black person can't be racist or whatever can't be racist. And I think we've talked about this before. I think that's personal racism, right?
Black people can't be racist towards
anybody
people.
Can be racist. Anybody can. If you've traveled the world, right? We're talking about America has a specific brand of institutionalized racism, right?
Okay, but hold on. I'm gonna make that clear that minorities, I can't speak, can't be racist towards white people. You can't be racist towards you can't be racist towards you could be, a bigot, you could be just
that's all I'm saying.
Any of that other stuff. But
right?
You can't be racist. You can't be racist towards white people.
See, I think it's where we disagree. Because personally, I think that if you're not looking at your own heart, then you can't spread the love that's necessary to end racism.
You could be any.
It's not anyone else's job to end systemic racism in America except for white people, right? And I think that's where we agree. Okay, but I think that when you're talking about, and I think you can be a part of the battle in that way. There's he's one of my heroes, and it's weird because he's divisive, but he's an African American man. I can't remember his name again, but he's a musician, and he has a collection of Ku Klux Klan robes from people who have taken off their robes and given them to him and said, "I'm never going to do this again." And the way that he did that was by showing love. Not that it's such a cross to bear, though, and I don't think that it's a thing that I would say in this society. white men specifically need to be the ones that end that institutional hate. But I think that on a personal level, it's helpful for each of us. And I'm saying that as a white man. This is my job. Way more than it is anybody else's job.
You're white.
Yeah, I am. I'm the whitest. I'm so white that you can use me to set the white balance on your camera. See?
Right. Which I will say that I am privileged because I am.
You pass.
Even though I am Latina, right. Yeah, I am white passing. Like totally, just yeah. So I have not suffered, I would say, as much from racism. Well, I think the only well, okay. I guess there's been a couple of instances. I think the one that sticks out the most is being in 7th grade, and this is oh my gosh. So there was a kid there that had a crush on me. So he ended up getting me for Secret Santa, and he was happy because apparently he had a crush on me. But I found that out later. But at the time, he was telling everyone that he had gotten me, and he was going to get me soap because I'm a dirty Mexican. And that I smell bad.
This is a kid that liked you?
Yeah. Like, teach your sons that no, violence and hate does not show another person that you like. Like, I feel so bad. Hopefully he's changed. Maybe, probably not. But if he grew continuing that's thinking that that's okay, like, I feel bad with whoever he ended up with, because that's like, he's gonna be an abuser unless he learned as he grew. But anyway, he one time in class, so this is the one that stands out. Well, I guess multiple time things during that grade. Yeah, same kid. No. One day we were in class, and he out loud, so this was in front of the teacher, said something, Anna's a dirty Mexican. And the teacher was like, and like she was gonna slap him, but instead just like put her hand in a fist and was like, please leave the class. You know, I need to talk to you outside of class. So he went on the outside of class and whatever. But like, you know, damage was done. Everyone already was like, that's so funny. And he just like made 7th grade a living hell, which oddly enough, it was at a Catholic school. But see, not all Catholics are good. Actually, a lot of Catholics are not good. The majority of Catholics are not good.
And let's let this be a lesson, because I know a lot of people don't believe in white privilege, which is a weird thing. So that's an example of something that, you know, I have been in situations where I've been racially profiled. Okay. A lot of times, but not to that extreme and not in that degree. So what I'm going to do is tell the opposite story, because it's really easy to focus on, I can relate to that.
Oh, hold on.
Really cannot.
I need to tell you though, that for Secret Santa, he did not get me soap like he had told everyone that he was going to get me. He waited until class was over and people were out, and he said, "Wait, Anna," and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Oh, here's your Secret Santa," and it was this really cute makeup case that had like tons of nail polish and like little earrings, and like it was such a great Christmas present. But like,
he had ruined it.
Yeah, it came from this man of hate, boy of hate.
And now he's an incel, probably. And he's like, why is it that girls don't like nice guys? Okay.
So right. Anyway, continue.
I'm going to tell you the opposite story, because this is a perfect example of white privilege. Okay. This is what I have experienced. So that's what, that's an example of what a Latina who
I'm white passing though.
White passing Latina though. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is an example of what the whitest human being on earth possibly would experience. So someone stole my wallet. The next day I was flying. That was a domestic flight. It was from San Diego to Las Vegas. But it was the next day. I had no ID. I had no credit cards. I had no license, nothing. So I get to the airport. I explain to them, I have no ID. Somebody stole my wallet the day before. And the lady looked at me and she said, "Oh, I can tell you were born here just by looking at you. Go ahead."
Wow.
And this was post 9/11.
Wow.
So when people say there is no such thing as white privilege, yes, there are people in Appalachia, there are people on the streets all across America that have different degrees of privilege.
Right.
Wealth privilege is a thing too, but
exactly,
the same people that say there's no white privilege are usually like out there going, "Well, one day I'll be a billionaire too."
They're like, "Well, you don't know my life, and I've had a hard life." Yes, you've had a hard life,
right.
But your skin was never taken into account for those hardships.
You were never denied the ability to move to a neighborhood because of who you were. You could
right.
move anywhere. You can go into any neighborhood. People, you'll get shot if you go there. I bet you won't.
Yeah.
You won't. You could probably
actually
go right down the street.
So before I forget, you talking about the traveling thing reminds me of every time we would go visit, me and my family would go visit Mexico. On our way back, when we'd be crossing the border, it was so nerve-wracking. Like all of us just so afraid that what if they don't accept our paperwork, even though it was all legit, and because then we're stuck there. I guess we'd have to just come back around and try to come. I don't know. But I remember being like, I don't know, 10 or something. And the Border Patrol person, they have my paperwork and they're like, "How old are you? Or what's your birthday?" or whatever. May 14th? Okay. Where do you live? I'm like, or where are you from? And I'm like, "Here." And I'm like, "Wait, California." It was just, I was like, my little heart, I was a little child, and I'm like, oh no, he's gonna think that you met Mexico and you're not gonna get to live with your parents and you're gonna be stuck here forever. And no.
And so there is a fast pass for crossing the border, but if you don't have that, the worst thing you have to do is stand in line. But I've been in line behind drunk, stoned white people who had no problem getting across the border. So
yeah,
it's an exact opposite. The hookers cost way more than you think.
They would check our truck, because my uncle's truck, and they'd look and everything. They'd check the containers. It was always nerve-wracking. Like,
And what you didn't realize was that at one point you were at the Mexican border and you ran, and that border agent, he shot you, and then you snapped into a life where you were able to cross.
And then now I'm here saying, "Goodbye, world."
Goodbye.